Hello everyone, this is my fast food project, so let's just go ahead and get started then. This project will be looking into the changes of the fast food industry and its history, also its gradual evolution from what its original design is into what it is today. It is through this goofy project I hope you learn that the fast food industry is a big, albeit overlooked, part of American history, and has a larger impact than you thought. Our story starts, where no story ever should, with Ronald locked away in the back of a McDonald's kitchen. In the background, muffled roars can be heard, but their message, too faint to be understood, goes unnoticed for now. Ronald, still trying to compose himself from the events that just happened what felt like moments ago, reaches for his phone to make a call. He needs help and advice, and he knows who can give it to him. He dials up the only person he can think that might be able to help him, someone with the kind of experience he needs to deal with this problem. As he waits for Mr. White, the person he decides to call, to answer the phone, he can't help but recollect recent events. The memory starts with the lady walking up to a counter. She says, "Hello there, boy. I was wondering if you knew the nutritional value of a Big Mac." The boy, standing on the other side of the counter, said, I don't know what's in those things. I just take the orders, lady. Come on." "Well, that's okay, because I happen to know exactly what's inside of these things. Take a look at these, ladies and pigs. As you sift through these words, you maybe stumbled upon one. Potassium sorbate. You know what that is, right? Through my extensive research on the first page of Google, I've learned much of this poison. Common side effects include diarrhea, nausea, gastric upsets, migraines, and more." What are you doing, ma'am? Hey, come on now. You gotta stop that. "Silence, boy. For too long we've been silenced like lambs. No more. We must rise above our shepherds. It's time you sheep were started to stray from the flock." Ma'am, please. You're causing a scene. I need you to stop, please. Hello there, everyone. No need to be alarmed by that terrifying scene of an angry middle-aged woman. It's gone now, and you can relax knowing it was fiction. Well, sort of. You see, there has been a rather large uproar lately, ever since the late 80s really, and certainly the 90s. Fast food's legitimacy and healthiness has been called into question. Really no surprise there, I hope. In fact, as more people started dining in fast food outlets, they had to accommodate. They had to change. And well, oh boy, they certainly did that, huh? Allow me to show this fine audience something. Here, I procured a graph of the increases in visits to fast food chains. Look at the percentage of Americans that partake in fast food at least once a week. As of 2013, that percent is already at 28%. Do gander as to what it is now, though, of 2022. Curious you may be, where the answer is 83% of Americans visit fast food at least once a week. Now my, that's quite the increase, and in under a decade to note. Oh, but of course it doesn't end there. This increase in consumption has changed its fair share of the industry. With more people eating out in fast food, it saddens me to say that the quality and healthiness has changed too. Assess the info in this graph. Now look at its rise in calories. And though this graph doesn't show it, there has also been a steady increase in chemical preservatives. All of this and more has led to people starting to once again question the state of fast food industry, just as they did in the 90s. Most of these demands are rather sound. Stop incentivizing unhealthy eating habits. Stop aggressively marketing lower class. Of course, not all of these claims are made by stable headspaces. Some of them are like, I want vegan meat. I mean, seriously, if you're a vegan, you don't even eat meat. I mean, it's preposterous, it's absurd, and it's off topic. Truly sorry. Audience, truly sorry. Swiftly jumping back onto the train of thought, all I really have left to show you is this final graph. As you may see in this graph, the mere cost has gone up, certainly thanks to inflation, but in part because of choice, intentional as you may say. But of course, don't be fooled, this in no way means that the food is of some jump in quality. This belief is simply wrong. By the contrary, honestly. The food has progressively gotten crappier as it has become more and more demanded. This is certainly for profits, but of course, this sum only means that someone else has to pay an even bigger price, and my audience, I'm afraid you are that person, or at least a large portion of you, and if not you, then certainly the people that are forced to rely on fast food every single day. But alas, I believe that this has been more than enough. Thank you for listening, and this has been Exposition Dumpy. Now, back to the story. As Ronald sat there, waiting for Mr. White to pick up the phone, he snapped at his daydream, hearing his voice, quickly picking up the phone to talk. Walter, was that you? I need your help, Walter. This is an emergency. A fight broke out in my restaurant and I don't know what to do. Please, help me. Ronald, I know. It's all over Twitter. It's happening to all the big chains. They're saying it's a movement, Ronald. But you know, that's not what it is. They're just sugarcoating it. These people, they're not liberated. They're infected. I thought this whole thing was going to go away. But no. This disease is persistent. Looks like we're in a bit of a pickle. Caught between two buns, as you may say. Don't worry, though. I've seen this before. Yes, a long time ago. I guess I can't really say I'm surprised. You see, Ronald, this has happened to me before. Back when I started White Castles in 1921 out in Wichita, Kansas, this world was going through some similar pandemics, known as the early meat industry reforms. You see, Ronald, back then, people wanted nothing to do with meat, the nasty stuff. Half the time I wasn't even sure I was serving beef, I reckon. I needed to show people that they could trust an independent restaurant that served burgers, so I spec'd into stainless steel and clean counters, wanted people to sit down and know they were in a pristine environment, and slowly I gained the consumer's trust. You know, back then there wasn't no fast food industry, you see. I had to build this foundation, so I built a clean environment, somewhere the whole family could confidently come and enjoy a meal and have an experience. Not the kind of experience where you get asked for behind windows for $20. No, not that kind of experience. This is the kind of experience that was entertainment. It was something special. But now, my image of fast food has been perverted by capitalist pigs and impatient consumers. Really, when was the last time you think you ever had someone feel entertained? My point. I know what we need to do, and I'll tell you when you meet me. Just come over tonight, you'll see. Ronald knew what he needed to do if he didn't want to change his ways, which he obviously didn't. He'd have to listen to Mr. White and come over later that night. So that's what he did. As he was walking in there, he could only wonder what kooky plan Walter White had cooking for him. Ronald situated himself into the booth between two other people. To his left was the Burger King, or just King, and to his right was Colonel Sanders of KFC. Both presumably in similar situations to his, he couldn't help but really hate his odds. Walter White began to speak. Thank you all for meeting me here today. It's come to my attention that we have a bit of a problem. It doesn't take a wise man to see there's some kind of sickness, some infection that's completely out of control, and it's up to us to stop it unless we want to start actively serving some kind of vegan options on our menu. King interrupted. I don't really know what you're talking about. I don't see anything wrong with a plant-based patty. Shut up, King! Nobody cares about the Impossible Whopper. Anyway, as I was saying, take a look at this. This is our target. Let me just go ahead and turn this on. Wait a second, that's not it. That's on, ain't I? Oh, here we go. Here we are, boys. This particular Denny's has had a massive spike in traffic over the last couple hours. Now, this can only mean two things. Either they brought back the spiced potato wedges, or it's an infective hive. As the four of them stood outside of the Denny's in the dark rain, White spoke up. Guess this is what happens when we get a taste of profit, huh? We make other people pay the prices. It's a little late for cold feet. Yeah, I guess you're right. Mine are already. As the four of them entered the Denny's, all the regrets that they might have felt vanished. The walls were plain, the air stagnant, a strong smell like that of old battle. And in the back, tucked into the corners of the place, were rows of poorly lit silhouettes as still as statues. They proceeded with a chilling caution. The king was forced to approach the figures. As he got closer, they began to take shape. Their faces had a frozen expression of anger, no doubt from the disgust they felt as the injustices of fast food industries that had been taken out on them as consumers. threatened his stalks would turn towards the bears, he swiftly set into motion to dispatch the unsatisfied masses that he faced. Thinking quickly, he pulled from his pockets bundles of burger wrappers coated in perfluoroalkyl, a common preservative found in many food wrappings because it's cheap and accessible, something he needed when he had growing demands. And with haste, he stuffed them down the throats of the infected. They started to wake up, but by then, it was simply just too late. Within moments, a completely inaccurate reaction started to happen. Maybe by shoddy logic, or maybe because I need to get this project done. All of a sudden, the infected started dying of liver failure, a common side effect of too much exposure to PFASs like perfluoroalkyl. This would, without a doubt, spark some legal debate for the company, but at the end of the day, it got the job done. Next up was Cornell, who was being faced with the same scrutiny as the other man on that day, without a doubt was not an innocent man, or grain. He knew that his public relations were hanging by a thread, and sometimes you just need to cut things out of your life. In an act of reflection, he knew his branch was on the rocks. As a questionably selfless act, he sparked controversy by showing what was seemingly a dead, deep-fried rat. Hilarious, yes, but more importantly, just enough to cripple public relations. In fact, it didn't even matter if the dead rat was real or not. It just highlighted the lack of faith many Americans have in the brands that roll over this country. All of the infected knew they couldn't even hold it against KFC to be faked because in this larger business of fast food, these slip-ups are just to be expected. The infected, now having an existential crisis, left the store completely broken. Lastly was Walter White, who just showed his menu. The infected, already reflecting on the state of the fast food industry, just took one look at the menu and was like, yep, White Castle is a fall of grace. That sucks. In the end, the infected left, not wanting to give up on their hopes for the reformed fast food industry, but coming to terms with the fact that they and their rush as consumers wanting convenience over quality are somewhat responsible for the unfortunate decline of the fast food industry's status. Now they, not being able to bear the future of fast food, have resigned themselves back to their homes, and likely twiddle. Some are still hoping that they might at least see a future where the fast food comes back to what it's supposed to be, what it was intended to be, a place of entertainment and leisure. However, in moments like these, surrealism breaks through, and their fantasies would be left to just that, fantasies. In the end, the future of fast food is murky, and one can only hope, if not anything else, that McDonald's will stop overhyping the McRib because it's really nasty.